Hello, my name's David Seaman, and this is the Three Lions Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions Podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and this is an independent England football supporters podcast. How are you? Hope you're good. Obviously the recent episodes have been, they've been very Lionesses heavy, haven't they? And rightly so. European champions once again. Congratulations to the women. If you didn't catch it, episode 379, I spoke with England fan Nick Jones, who was out there in Basel to see the Lionesses win the European Championships of 2025. He tells us all about it, what it was like, what the vibe was. Find it at your podcast provider of choice. Now, this episode, I am once again chatting with an England fan about their England journey. And I'll get to that very soon. I can assure you, you will enjoy it. But before that, well, the season is once again upon us, isn't it? The EFL began last weekend, as did the FA Cup with the extra preliminary round. I always feel for a team that loses in that extra preliminary round, that's it, you're done for the year. The final will be May next year and you're already out. I mean, with regards to the teams that have played in the extra preliminary round, they're not very highly, 100% unlikely to make the final. But it always gives me a strange smile, that one. But, well, fair play for taking part, isn't it? To be part of the FA Cup, to play in the FA Cup. It's more than I've ever done or will ever do. The Champions League qualifying rounds, they've already begun. The Community Shield, or the Charity Shield in old money, takes place this weekend. Crystal Palace facing Liverpool. Of course, Crystal Palace, FA Cup holders. Wonder how they would have fared in the extra preliminary round. That would have been an upset, wouldn't it? And the Premier League starts Friday the 15th. Liverpool home to Bournemouth. I'll be honest, with the under-21s Euros, the Women's Euros, the Club World Cup, kind of feels that football hasn't had a break this year. Hope it's not a sign of things to come. But if I'm honest, at the moment, I'm personally, well, I look at football, club football, with a bit of sadness, with a bit of depression, and especially for those that it affects. It's this whole ownership of football clubs. I'm not going to go too deep here, it's not my place to, but the stories of Morecambe, the situation with Sheffield Wednesday, Bury in the past, regardless of size of the clubs, these are communities of people who all come together on a regular basis, be it to watch the game, be it to work at the stadium as a programme seller, as someone who works in the bars, in the concourse, or in hospitality, those that serve food, stewards, those who work in the club shops. There's loads of people that make a football club run on a Saturday afternoon. It's communities, football clubs, aren't they? People who come together. However, they have the prospect of their clubs being taken from them because of owners who aren't running the clubs in a fit and proper manner. Players aren't getting paid, who in turn can't support their families in the way they should, and that also applies to the people that work within the clubs. Obviously, this relates to the EFL and the National League both not supporting their clubs in the right manner, in the right amount of time, in a way that they shouldn't have got to this situation in the first place. And let's be honest, if it's happened in the EFL and it's happened in the National League, and with the amount of money swelling around in the Premier League, will it happen there too? Well, there's always talk around it and of it, isn't there? Football has been eating itself for a long time now, and if it's not careful, it's going to take a bigger bite soon. If you're a Morecambe fan or a Wednesday fan, I feel for you, honestly. My granddad was a Wednesday fan. I went to a few games with him, so I don't like seeing that situation at all. Not one bit. Right, back to England. Let's refresh your diary with a couple of dates. Andorra at home. Well, it's being played at Villa Park, Birmingham, on Saturday the 6th of September. There might still be tickets for that. Check the FA's website. And a couple of days after that, on Tuesday the 9th, is Serbia away. After all the talk of it being played in a smaller stadium, in a harder-to-reach part of the country, it was agreed they would play it in Belgrade. Now, we have been allocated 2,500 tickets for this in what will be a partially reduced capacity. That's due to previous misdemeanours on Serbia's behalf. And I don't think that would have had any effect on the allocation we would have received. Now, the tickets were a very generous £5. £5 to see international football. That's the cheapest we've had since we played away in Kosovo in 2019. So if you're going to Serbia, enjoy that one. Stay safe. Moving into October, we have a friendly against Wales on the 9th of October. Again, tickets, I had a quick look. They're available on the FA's Wembley site. Then on the 14th, Latvia away. Now, as of this moment in time, England fans we haven't been given any details on that yet. And then into November, Serbia at home on the 13th of November, which incidentally, tickets for England Supporters Travel Club members, ESTC, they go on sale on Thursday the 7th of August. Then for my England fans, the 20th of August, and then general sale 1st of September. Should be a good game, that one. Now, I have to say, at the time of recording, tickets for a home game against Serbia in November are going on sale in August before the away game against Serbia that's being played in September. Make it make sense. I mean, it shouldn't surprise us, should it? But come on, how has it got to that? Then finally, Albania away on the 16th of November. As of yet, no information to give you on tickets for that one. Okay, I guess that was your appetisers. Now time for the mains of the episode, or the dessert, the best bit, however you want to look at it. Now, in the past, I have spoken with lots of different England fans about their England journey, and we're going to do it once again now. This is a conversation I recorded a while back with Andy Milne. Hope you enjoy it. Now it's my pleasure to welcome to the Three Lions podcast, Manchester United and England fan Andy Milne to the show. Andy, hello there.
Hi Russell, thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much for agreeing to come on and have a chat.
You're very, very welcome.
I think you've got a fair few stories to tell us a few about.
Yeah, plenty of stories. I've been following England and following the World Cups when England aren't there for a long time now. So,
okay. Well, let's we'll come to those in a minute. But for many England fans, they may not know the name, but they may know the face, as it were. They may have seen you on the telly as a face of England fans, and that England World Cup guy, I think, is what you've been referred to, isn't it?
Yeah, that all started in Qatar. Senegal match really is where it went viral there, and I think focused on the telly, but focused on the memes especially. So I've been used by all sorts of companies and all sorts of individuals had put together my face, and just sort of it went completely viral. Which the strange thing was that at the time, I didn't have any social media at all myself.
Okay.
So since I've since opened I've got an account called That World Cup Guy now. But back in the day, I saw all these things like when friends and family were forwarding them to me over in Qatar. It was so I'll tell you what happened. So what happened was it was at the first match, which was the Iran match.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of photos went of me holding my shiny World Cup trophy. Went on viral, and the producers had obviously spotted a guy with a trophy, and so I was on, and then I was on again and on again, and so people were noticing that at home, and then the next match as well, the USA match, and then eventually, sort of through to the Senegal match, I think people were waiting, sort of let's see, he's there, he's going, sort of looking out for it, and then one famous meme was put out where somebody said. Something along the lines of, "It's nice to see Steve McLaren looking well." And I don't think I really look like Steve McLaren, but in that photo, I can see the resemblance there.
Right.
There was that one there. On the back of that one meme, it just went absolutely crazy. The number, the correspondence that went with that, and to begin with, for the first 24 hours, it was pretty rank. It was it doesn't look like. Steve McLaren looks like a fucking paedophile. This bloke looks like Ken Dog shagged a rat. This, and those sorts of comments. And there were loads and loads and loads of them. But as I say, I wasn't on social media, so I've since seen them. But at the time, I was oblivious to this. Yeah. And looking back, there was some lady, I'd love to track her down, who came on and said, "Look, guys, he's out there. He spent his money. He's watching England. You should be supporting." And this tidal wave of support that came after that was absolutely huge. And I that's pretty much all I get nowadays. Is a lot of people come up and say, "Oh, good on you, mate." It's and hate the haters and that sort of thing. So I think the fact that I got the negative to begin with sort of really added to the positive. And then I sat down on the boat one night. So I didn't even know how to do Twitter at the time, but I found that, I found my way onto it. Yeah. And I sat there reading the messages, and I found a little deck all to myself, a little sort of hiding place on the boat, and just sat there reading and reading and reading. And sort of 2.5 hours later, I've barely scratched the surface. There were so many, it was crazy.
Yeah. Genuinely, how did it make you feel? I mean, because I can imagine how it may have made you feel.
Yeah, it's harsh. I mean, but I know that people are idiots, and as I said, the vast majority were very, very nice.
Yeah.
So some of them who were, criticising my look, saying, and that, and I have a look at their profile photos, and I'm thinking, geez, you're really, really brave coming on here. Having a go at me. Yeah. Take a look in the mirror, mate. But I didn't, I didn't respond. No. Maybe one or two for him, but yeah, it was a strange time.
I can well imagine. And it's had its upsides, which we'll come to, I'm sure in a bit. But take us to the beginning of your England journey, because Qatar wasn't your first rodeo, as they say, is it?
No. I as a child, I first I was brought up really in Somerset, is where I lived, in a little country village called Rington. And on Saturdays, I used to go to the local mushroom farm, Saturday job, cutting mushrooms in the dark, pig shit everywhere. Not a nice job, but we had good banter with all of the rest of the lads who were there. And two of the boys who were there, well, one of them had a car, and well, to begin with, we used to go and watch Bristol City. We used to go on the women's minibus, sneak on there, get a free lift into Bristol after we cut the mushrooms, have our early beers as 16, 17-year-olds, and then get back on the bus. And then we decided, one of them had the idea, we'll go and start watching some England matches. So we headed off. So my first match was That would have been an away match, actually, in Wales. We used to have the home internationals. I don't know if you're aware of those. So that went on till the early 80s when it was pulled. Actually, in its 100th year, it was the longest running tournament. And so went up, watched a dreadful match. England took the lead and lost 4-1, I think it was. It was at Wrexham as well.
I was going to say, yes, at Wrexham.
So, yeah, up at Wrexham it was. And then the following year, that year would have been when we'd have the qualifiers. But no, the following year, qualifiers for the World Cup. So the three of us went off and went to see home internationals. I remember seeing Wrexham 0-0 at home. I remember the first qualifier for the 1982 match, for the 1982 Cup was Norway. I think it was 4-0 or maybe 4-1. And all of these matches, whenever I used to go, Paul Mariner always used to score. He's just he'd pop up and score. He was an Ipswich, and that time Ipswich and Nottingham Forest were the mainstay of the England team. It was made up of those players. Yeah. So eventually leading to my first World Cup, which was in 1982.
Right. Okay. So just refresh your memory again. How old would you have been then?
So I was 19 then.
Okay. So you'd obviously done Wales away. I mean, had you been abroad before? Had you been to Spain before?
That was my first ever time abroad. Not only for England, but just to go abroad. Yeah. It was a real spur of the moment thing as well. I can remember. So I've been pursuing this lovely Indian doctor lady for a year at university, and eventually we'd started dating. We're still together now.
Okay,
actually. And I can remember just being in Whitworth Park, lying there in the sun, really, and just saying, "I'm going to the World Cup." And she said, "What do you mean you're going to the World Cup? It's next week." And I was saying, "Well, no, I'm going." So we haven't got any money. And I said, "Well, I've got a bit." No, and it was so I just decided I bought myself a little tent, which is much cheaper than I thought it would be. My mum helped me out. She bought me a one-way ticket. Because she couldn't afford to buy the return and not figure it out. So I set off as a 19-year-old lad, hitchhiked down to Plymouth, big bright yellow rucksack, got on the ferry, met all the England lads who were going over, who sort of let me know what to do, arrived in Bilbao. Lots of them headed off to the coast to camp. I thought I'd stay behind and so a pub full of England fans as it was, and they had tiny little beers. I've never seen beers so small in my life, with a head that filled the glass. That was a unique experience. And they had wine there, and wine in the UK was it was just a little bit of a snooty thing that people didn't really drink, but there it was destructively cheap. And so I just tucked into the wine, had quite a bit, came outside to pick up my rucksack, and it had been stolen.
No.
So on the first day, I lost everything apart from my money belt. I had my traveller's checks at the time.
Oh yes,
a few pesetas, traveller's checks, my passport, and that was about it. No tickets. You queued up for tickets in those days outside the grounds to get them. And I had a pair of shorts and a Bulldog T-shirt. A lot of it in those days was Union Jack, not Crossy St George.
Yeah.
And so I had that and Doc Martin boots, and that was it for a month over there. So after about 5 days, a barman said, I have a shirt somebody left behind, and gave me exactly the same shirt that I was wearing, which is really strange. It wasn't a common one. So I had two shirts the same. I bought a pair of swimming trunks, so I rotated washing those with underwear and just basically sort of picked up things as I went along, and I had a plastic carrier bag and just slept rough for a month.
Because your tent had gone as well with
everything had gone. Everything had been stolen. Yeah. So I slept in phone boxes, slept under a caravan, which was quite comfy for a couple of nights until they told me that the toilet was open. It just went down into a train, so I could. Luckily, it didn't go on me, but it could easily, or just splashed all over me. But and then after 2 weeks. So in those days, you did a group stage, and then you had a second group stage, and straight to the semi-final. And in the second group stage, we had Germany and Spain in our group. And when Germany got knocked out, the German fan who was on our campsite, he just came and he gave me a sleeping bag, and that was that transferred things. Then when I had somewhere that I could actually sleep in,
because those two games, what was it, Germany and Spain? Didn't we draw both of those and still ended up going out? But you intended on staying the whole duration of the tournament.
Yeah, and I've always done that. So one of my sort of claims, and which is to fame, is that I've been to 8 men's World Cup finals, so the actual finals. Okay. So I travel over to the tournaments always with the intention of seeing it through till the end, whether England are there or not. And sometimes I've arrived after. So I've arrived after the group stage. So England have actually been knocked out, even though I've had tickets for the following matches.
I forget. We're talking 2014 there, aren't we?
2014.
Brazil.
Yeah. Brazil. Well, yeah. And pretty much South Africa as well. So
that's true. Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, you must have so many memories of the best World Cup. I don't even know if it's possible to pick one out. But what sort of stands out for you?
So as a tournament, as a World Cup itself, I really liked South Africa, and I really liked Qatar. Qatar's probably my favourite. I thought England were fantastic in Qatar.
Yeah,
probably one of our best tournaments. We're unlucky to go out in the quarterfinals. I thought we played better than France on the day, but they scored the goals. We didn't. Yeah. But our performances were great, and we had, at that time, players like Foden and Rashford and Saka and Grealish were really exciting, and a lot of them new players and coming through, and they all performed fantastically well. So Qatar, and then the other thing about Qatar was that every stadium was within 35 miles of each other. So effectively, the whole of the World Cup was played in a city. So whereas you normally get to meet fans of your opponents and maybe fans of another team that's going to arrive in 3 days to play their match in a city. Here, all 32 nations were gathered together, with everybody meeting, and it meant that you could go to match after match after match. So I went to 2 matches on the same day. I can't see that ever happening again, or not for a long time. Looking at the countries, where the World Cup is going to be held, and now it's multi-continent coming up, isn't it?
Exactly.
In a couple of them. So I really enjoyed that. I stayed on a cruise ship there. So I got in very early, got quite a reasonable price, and I had an inside cabin. So it was like being in a cupboard, really. There was no windows at all, but it's just a place to crash out. Yep. And on the cruise ship, all 32 nations were represented. When somebody had won a game and came back onto the boat, the fans were cheered back on. So Saudi Arabians having beaten Argentina, they were, the boat was going crazy. Same with Japan beat Germany, wasn't it? I think, yeah. So when Japan beat Germany, that was the similar thing happened there. So I really like the Qatar World Cup from that point of view. As far as watching football goes, it was great.
So what's that? Eight World Cups. I believe it's 9 Euros, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've done the Women's World Cup as well.
Okay, cool. Was that the Australian one?
That was in Australia, yeah. So that was part of. That was one of the benefits of me going viral, is that I got approached by a PR company from London, One Green Bean, who asked if I would go and promote the Women's World Cup. I was basically being employed by Tourism Australia.
Okay.
So at the time, I was in Thailand. I was on a beach. I got a phone call asking if I would travel over, and of course I said yes. It was to Sydney, and my daughter Layla lives in Sydney, so it was a fantastic opportunity. So they flew me over. They didn't know at the time that my daughter was there, but with it being women's football, and one of the great stories that went around, it was asked everyone repeated, was that when my daughter Layla was at junior school, she used to play football. When she came to secondary school, which is where I taught, there was no football for girls. And she's like, Dad, why is there no football for girls? It's not fair. So I started the girls' football at the school.
Oh, wow.
So I coached the junior girls' football for 4 years, twice with Layla and then twice with my younger daughter who came along. So it all sort of went full circle, meeting Layla up in the World Cup, and the papers and the TV lapped it up. They love that story.
I bet. Great story. Well, you mentioned Thailand, and like you were on a beach in Thailand. Thailand is part of your story as well, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. When I found out that the World Cup was going to be at Qatar, and then when it was announced cheekily by FIFA, because it never was part of the original plan, that it was going to be a winter tournament,
yes,
I realised that there was no way that I was going to be able to watch any games as a teacher. So I decided to take early retirement. So I retired from a job so that I could go to the Qatar World Cup. And then 2 weeks after the tournament finished, so 6th of January 23, I opened my company in Thailand, which is it's a great company. I love it. It's called Treasure Island Challenge, and it's like an escape room, if you're familiar with the escape room concept, except it's over the whole island. So people come along in the morning. They in groups of maximum of 12. Put into and we take them around. First of all they find the treasure map in a traditional escape room way, and then they set off across the island with a guide. They will go to 4 beaches. They'll snorkel for clues at 2 of the beaches. They go to 2 viewpoints. Have a great day out. Lots of nice food. Meet lots of locals, and hopefully find the treasure.
Wow. I mean, was that something, just an idea you came up with, or was it something you sort of just? Wow. How did it come out?
So I've always been a biology teacher,
right?
And the big thing that got me through the year, got me through my teaching, the thing that the big motivation was to take away expeditions, and I've always loved to travel. Part of my love for the World Cup, I like meeting people, immersing myself in different cultures, etc. So I would take expeditions away, and in the early days, I would pay companies to take us, and I started. I thought you get a better deal and exactly what you want to do if you organise things from scratch. So I put together this expedition to Thailand, and then the school went from 2005. They went every other year to Thailand, and so every odd-numbered year we'd travel.
Okay.
And then the even-numbered years, of course, you got the Euros and the World Cup one. So when we went to Thailand, we'd always go to this little island called Koh Tao, which is the diving island. And the school children, with their 16, 17-year-olds, would learn to dive. But if you've got 60 students, you're going to have 10 or so that can't dive, can't swim, bad ears, asthma, or whatever. So I had to find something for them to do. And out of that arose my idea for doing this.
Wow.
Full island trip. Yeah.
Oh, well, I went to Thailand. Well, it was probably a good 15 years ago. It's a shame it wasn't there then, but it gives me an excuse to come back now, or go back, have another look.
Go and have a look. It's good.
Or twist my wife's arm, and I shouldn't think that would need much twisting. But back to the football, back to the Euros, I guess. I mean, obviously the most recent Euros, or those past 2 recent Euros, we've made it to the finals. The first one, 2021, on home soil, and then most recently in Germany. I saw actually that Germany, you were going around and sleeping in your car.
Yeah, I've done my World Cups and my Euros in all sorts of different ways. As I say, I'm a teacher, so I've not got limitless money. So I drove over. I've got a big boot which folds down. My daughter bought me an inflatable mattress that fits nicely in the back of the car. So it's not as bad as it sounds. So on one side I had the mattress inflated, on the other half I had my little bags and boxes or whatever, clothes or cooking stuff. And I went, and so most of the time I was staying on campsites. So basically camping, but without tent. But you got the flexibility of just being able to park up whenever you want around there. And camping is probably my favoured way of doing the tournaments. You meet. It's much easier to meet people During the day, you sit out, have a brew, and people just ruck up and form little groups up there. So we had a great group, the Squadron, over in Germany.
So that was what it was named, was it?
Yeah, it's called the 681 Squadron. I think it's because that was the name of the campsite. Every kilometre on the river is has a number, so this is 681 kilometres.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
I think we called it the Squadron because we all went out on scooters. So that's right. We're doing formation on
like Red Arrows.
Like the Red Arrows. Yeah, heading into Cologne. That was
marvellous. Oh. So I mean, what on the football front? What did you make of, say, of Gareth Southgate? You've already mentioned the likes of Rashford and Foden and the exciting players we had. But what's your thoughts on Gareth?
I like Gareth Southgate. I thought it's a tough job being England manager, isn't it? You've got to win and you've got to entertain, and people expect so much. So Tuchel came in, didn't he, saying that he was going to entertain, but he's got to make sure he wins as well as entertaining. And I think we haven't really had that yet. It wasn't the greatest Euros for England performances, was it?
No.
But we got through to the final. We were tight, and some of my greatest ever England moments were those last minute goals that we scored. Yeah. The way that we came through and won some of those matches at the end was, that's what you live for. I look back. I don't like the two previous managers, Sven and Capello. Were they the two previous? Or I missed somebody out? They were.
Had Hodgson in there as well, and Allardyce, if you just
Allardyce,
about count
most
him.
Successful England manager of all time.
Yes,
they. None of those excited, and we look completely lost. We just, under some of those managers. So it could have been more entertaining.
Yeah.
But he got us there, and we now expect to be in finals of tournaments, and we expect to get through the group stage. That was never the case before. We went years and years. Yeah. In 1982, when we qualified for the World Cup, that was the first time since 1970. So I had been a 7-year-old boy when England qualified, and then nothing at all until I'm 19 years old. And so the excitement of actually qualifying for a major tournament was, through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many stories that we could talk about, and I'm going to mention something where we will find a little bit more about those stories in a moment. But one story that we sort of, in a way, have a little bit in common. 2018, shortly after the 2018 World Cup, I was approached by the BBC to do a piece for the Sports Personality of the Year, which excited me no end, especially the sort of secrecy around it, that they didn't tell me actually what it was. And you as well have had that same sort of spotty experience as well, haven't you? Tell us a bit about that.
Well, that came out the blue. I was in Thailand at the time when I got the message, and luckily I was going to arrive back in the UK like a couple of days before. But they invited me to appear on last year's Sports Personality of the Year. So I was basically a face in the crowd. I was someone they could pan to when Jude Bellingham got his mentions and all of that. But I arrived there, and I knew I had a VIP ticket, because it said it on the ticket, VIP, but it had a red dot, and I didn't realise the significance of that. That meant that I did the red carpet. And I was totally unprepared, and I'd not got a clue what I was doing. So I walked down there, and this whole bank of photographers telling me to pose, and which, fair enough. And then I was interviewed by, various sort of papers and TV. So the interviews were okay, but then what I found hard was the social media. It's rapid fire. When they're asking you one after another, I was totally unprepared for what's going there. And then I had to do something with a BBC with a puppet. I think it was a dog. I can't remember. Something that went out on the CBBS.
Okay, yes.
So there's a drinks reception beforehand, and then there's a big party afterwards, which is all included. So that was great. I think I had too many beers beforehand because I had to sneak out to the toilet during live filming.
Right.
luckily it wasn't shown. So yeah, that's great. And I knew a few people. So Emily and Tom Ford are both Olympic rowers.
Oh, yes.
And I used to teach biology to both of those. So they were ex-students, yeah. So I spent a lot of that, a lot of my time there with the rowers, who are absolutely huge, by the way, as you'd expect. So that was good fun. And then there's another lad who I taught at my time at Manchester Grammar School, Steve, who was there as a friend of the producer. So he was just an ad on there. He was luckily in the crowd. So it was nice to actually have some faces that I knew there. I don't think there was anybody from the world of football there. I didn't see any anyway. There were matches on that day. I think it was a League Cup day. But there were but there was nobody at all, and there was a link to a recording from Jude Bellingham, but that was about it.
Yeah. Have any of the players approached you at any point?
I've met players. The one that really touched me was after when we qualified for the Euros, we beat Italy at home. That was the last match of the campaign, and at the end of the match, Jordan Henderson spotted me and came. You know, when the crowd do the players do their applause, and came walking to me, applauding, along with Harry Kane and what's his name, central defender, Man City.
John Stones.
John Stones. John Stones. So yeah, the three of them came up, recognised me, and
awesome.
Which was great. And I was totally not expecting that at all. And my friend was with me. He was taking pictures and me blabbing away.
Oh, marvelous!
Nice, yeah. And I've met players over the years. Bump into and have probably my all-time England hero was Bobby Charlton.
Right.
And sort of being in Manchester around at the time, I just seemed to, sort of bump into Bobby Charlton all sorts of strange places. He got an honorary degree from Manchester University and graduated with me. So I've got a photo of myself and Bobby graduating.
Oh, lovely.
We got in the 1982 World Cup. So I saw the England 1966 team in its entirety. They played against a Bilbao University team, and Bobby Charlton scored 3. I thought they were really, really old at the time, but thinking back, they weren't that old in 82. In fact,
yes,
Alan Ball might have still been playing. I'm not sure. So they played in their entirety. Then I met Bobby Charlton afterwards, and he signed my. Can't remember the name. Maybe a Bota. It's a leather drinking pouch that they fill with wine.
Oh, right.
One of those things there. So I've got a Bobby Charlton sign.
Oh, nice. Well, as I say, there's so many stories that you may have from all these tournaments and that you've been to and people you've met and occasions that you've been fortunate enough to have. And you've actually got some exciting news about sort of documenting them all, haven't you?
Oh yes, yeah. I've written a book. Everything's been agreed now. So the book's called That World Cup Guy.
Yeah.
And it's a story about my adventures at the World Cups. So it's divided into 9 sections, one for each of the World Cups. And each of those sections is subdivided into maybe 2 to 5 chapters. Talking about that. I think I'm pleased with it. I like it. The publishers are excited about it. Yeah. And I've got later this month, I'm going to do a photo shoot for the cover.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We're hoping to get a famous name. I probably can't say now who it is, but to write the foreword for it. It's exciting. And it's got a nice colour photo section in the middle. So I've got a page dedicated to each of the different tournaments, and then a few other bits and bobs put in there as well.
Excellent. And when are we looking at that possibly coming out? We're
going to publish on 28th of May next year, which is exactly 2 weeks before the America World Cup final. So it's going to be published just before that and publicity out there. Then I'll send you a reminder around about that time.
Yeah, it would be it'd be great to have a chat Well, it'd be great to have a chat in person, maybe at one of the next England games that I'll be out. Hopefully seek you out and say hello and buy you a beer. But yeah, it'd be great
you
to
can do that if you want, yeah.
Yeah. But to speak, yeah, maybe in a year's time when that book hits the Waterstone shelves.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. It'd be good. So it was something that I've been thinking about for a while, actually. Quite a long time before the memes and everything of Qatar. I thought there's lots of good stories here, but that kind of cemented the idea. And then I when I go to Thailand, I'm on my own a lot before Christmas, and then the family comes out after Christmas. So when I was on my own, I did a lot of writing over there in Thailand, which helps.
So many great stories, and as I say, really look forward to seeing the book, reading the book, and as I say, meeting up at some point would be great. Thank you very much for your time. Just tell us once more. You said you're on social media. Where can we find you there?
So it's That World Cup Guy.
And is that on
Instagram? That's all I do.
Right.
So there's one on there.
No, I will plug that as well for you. Yeah, no, thank you very much for your time. Really interesting, just to scratch the surface on your England journey, as it were.
That's been good to talk.
Many thanks to Andy there. Really enjoyed that one. Hope you did too. If you'd like to share your England journey, then by all means, drop me a note, 3linespodcast@gmail.com, or go through the social channels, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. They're the ones that I check regularly. Do people still use the others? Threads, Blue Sky? Let me know. And the show can also be found on YouTube too. Give it a subscribe on there. Occasionally I'll pop a regular video, but the audio can be found on YouTube. So ping me a message through either of those. Hit the follow, hit the like. Do whatever you feel you need to do. Now, regarding future episodes, I do have a few in the can already, but I've got a few personal issues that I'll need to address shortly, so the show may take a break. Don't worry, I'll still be around, but it might mean that there is no September Andorra-Serbia preview, which is a bit of a shame, as that'll be the first preview I've potentially missed since I started doing the show, and I know how well that they go down, but we'll see. I've also got an episode on Brazil 1984, Turkey 2003, and I intend on doing the annual transfer episode 2. I'm hoping to rope Charlie from the Gate 102 podcast in on that. We're thrashing out a few dates and times at the moment. So hopefully that one will be with you early September once the window has shut. And if you've got an idea for the show, then let me know. Perhaps you'd like me to look into a particular game from days gone by. I have to say the Brazil 1984 one was an interesting one to research. Perhaps it's a game you've heard about for a particular reason, but you just don't know the ins and outs of it. Maybe from the 70s or 80s. I don't want to do anything too recent, as I know Charlie is doing a great job looking at Gareth's tenure with the Gate 102 pod. So go check that one out. But if you've got any other ideas, sling me a message. Let's leave it there. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. It is really appreciated, never taken for granted. I will be back with you very soon, so stay subscribed and you'll not miss it. So until then, take care. Cheers.